Claude, we're here at a conference about growth, and you've had a very interesting presentation which was called "Growth is a Bad Idea." How does that come?
Well, I have to a bit more precise. Growth hacking is a bad idea, but generally, obviously, you're on the right track. It was a bit provocative. The reason is that I see a lot of people talking about growth, but I see very few people that actually understand what growth means. Often people think growth is like buying a fancy new tool or slapping a job title on someone, but very rarely do people really understand that growth is sort of about the whole organization. It's a bit of a change management process that needs to company needs to change towards a growth mindset, and that's why I came up with the slightly provocative title to just get everyone's attention and to make sure that people listen when I have my presentation.
Yeah, so you've created awareness, but you've created awareness for a very important topic in the end. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I see is that a lot of companies are actually actively searching for these people that are digging into the organization and searching for such truffles.
Yeah, so in preparation for my presentation, I was looking at job ads specifically, and I tried to find companies that are looking for people in an area related to growth. And you're right, there is lots of people from growth marketing side of things, analytics, data science, big data related topics. So there's a lot of companies looking for people related to growth. But as I said earlier, I feel like a lot of those companies don't really get who they should hire and what this person should then do at their organization.
Yeah. And that's related to the next question is, are we actually prepared on the company side for that, or also from the educational point of view, the schools, are they prepared for it?
Yeah. So I start with the company side of things. I think the awareness that companies need to innovate, companies need to use their data, need to listen to the customer, look at the customer data. The awareness is there. Now, in a lot of companies, there is fairly old processes. Things are being done the way they used to be done, and so change does not happen from today to tomorrow. But the awareness is there. But it also means that just taking an aspirin, if you want, and hiring a growth hacking person is not really fixing the underlying issue. So you really need to think about your organization and how your organization can support growth, and not just a single person. Now, schools, are we prepared? I think we could do more in education to make sure that the kids and teenagers today are learning the skills that are necessary for tomorrow. I think the skills are pretty basic in a sense, like it has to do with analytical thinking, with math, unfortunately, statistics, and a lot of topics like this that enable you to think in all kinds of directions. So I think we should enable our students to think and apply their thinking for a variety of reasons. It may be arts or maybe science, but not limit people on like, okay, so you're a marketer, and then you're like, your mindset, you're boxed into this marketer mindset, but you should be enabled to become a marketer if you want to, but become an artist if you choose to do that.
I totally agree on that, and related to that, we were talking about someone called Tobias, which I wrote about. Yeah, just to explain, he's someone working for a company as a growth person, and the story is that he's so frustrated in the end because he knows exactly what to do in order to drive the growth, but on the other side, people in the organization don't let him do that, which is absolutely frustrating. So my question is basically, how can we encourage Tobias, or on the other side, the decisions makers around him? How can we create awareness that this is important? Because I by myself, I was a Tobias 10 years ago, and I'm happy what happened now, but I think it's very important.
So I think there's also a structural problem we have to deal with, because the Tobiases of this world, they're young. Meaning, if you come into an organization, you're a junior person. Meaning, you will end up on the lowest possible spot in the food chain. right? So on an org chart, as a 24-year-old grad, you will never be in charge of anything, right? So, and that's why it's also a bit of a structural problem. So you'll end up in a marketing department where you then report to, to the head of a channel, or if you're lucky, to a CMO or whatever. But you'll never be in a position where you can actually go and decide from a org chart type of perspective. So what needs to happen is to really make sure that if someone is hired to drive growth, this person needs to have the freedom to actually execute. This, funny enough, this comes with boundaries. So freedom and boundaries sounds a bit weird, but you need to define what is in your area of control, and then instruct all these people, teams, and that are in this area, that this person cannot come up to you and say, listen, Johannes, I need this from you because I'm working on that project. And this needs clearly defined rules, because otherwise there's a certain ambiguity. Tobias doesn't know, can I go to you or can I not go? And this will slow her or him down in the organization. And so those rules enable a person to be more effective and have more punch in the organization. Yeah. So, but this thinking, it cannot only come from the bottom up. So you cannot expect to hire someone and then expect that person to draw the framework, like how do we handle this growth topic? Well, what's my area of responsibility? This cannot come from that person, right? So there needs to be a certain top-down willingness to actually do that. And then you meet in the middle, sort of like you have a young, energetic person that wants to drive innovation growth, bottom up, and then top down. It's like, okay, we as a company commit to this. Here are the budgets, the frameworks, and then it works.